He gave the spot here. So these games are a little bit faster. Here, let me close my WoW so that I don't have the WoW sound back here. I use the Feign Death one, yeah. Okay, so this is the thing. In this matchup, I would say one of the most important things to do, you need the game to go on to a longer duration. Like, you do win fast here, but generally you want to just try to play it safe. So a couple of things here that I notice are going to be big is the scattershot usage and positioning. So generally when I'm fighting a warrior, now you won't always do this with the disc priest, but when your disc priest is the kill target, you're going to want to use your scatters like this. And that's basically when the warrior stormbolts your healer, you pretty much always want to have scattershot on them and just scatter them on every stun, because stormbolt has a 30-second cooldown. Scattershot has a 30-second cooldown. You can guarantee your priest isn't going to break it if you do that. If they're on you, like, your priest is usually doing damage in a tone heal, so it's not always the same for you using scatter on yourself defensively, unless you scatter like a charge or something like that. But most of the time, you can just try to drag the warrior into bad spots when you have a priest and use your scatters on him. So when I go through this game, like, the first thing is you have like a pretty normal opener. You just get a trap on the shaman, and you just go for your double tap binding really early. I'd say the biggest risk here is you use your damage while you're super close range to this warrior, which is a massive risk. Like, the thing is, if this warrior, if he played properly here, he would have like disarmed you or feared you immediately on the rapid fire, and he let you get a lot of his damage off. Shaman panicked and used every cooldown. Like, they basically freaked out here, but they really shouldn't have had to use anything. Like, the biggest thing is, one, okay, he probably wasn't playing disarm here, but you have to always assume that they have disarm until it's really late in the game. And if you haven't seen it, then you can kind of play like that if you watch the Stormbolt and the Fear cooldown. But there's this mistake of just being super close to him when you go for your go. Like, I'll let you watch. Like, you come here, you have your trap on the shaman, which is actually like fine here. That's probably maybe more of a risky trap, but I kind of fuck with it. Um, like, your position is okay. You go for the binding on him, and then he stormbolts you here. Like, this is not really the best time to just pop. Like, you have your dark and your PI from your priest and everything, but it's still just so risky. It works out for you that you guys get every single cooldown. Like, they panic really, really hard, and this is going to give you guys a win. I mean, they used literally every defensive. They use warrior parry, they use shaman ascendance, they use link. All of that would have just been prevented if the warrior actually reacted properly. So this is something that you want to keep in mind. Like, it did work out for you really well, but you still want to correct this in the future. It's really, really important that you correct that, because it could cost you a game and you could get yourself shut down really hard, and you want to be mindful of that. So here, you're still just getting your damage up. I would say you're still sitting probably a little bit too close to melee range of him. Like, the warrior has a really good uptime, and with your cheat of freedom, I would have tried to create a little bit bigger distance. And right now, he's kind of just sitting on you as much as possible. Obviously, it's hard, and there's times where you want to let him sit on you, but you don't want to end up like throwing the game or throwing your cooldowns by just letting him get free uptime. Generally, like, if you got every cooldown there, honestly, what I would do is I would just try to somehow buy time until the next time I have double tap, do whatever I can, and not just start doing damage to the warrior until my healer's out of CC. Or, sorry, my healer's being hit, rather. Because, I mean, you got everything, right? He has no parry. They have no sentence or link or trinket. So that's definitely a kill. You just have to, like, be a little bit patient. And you don't necessarily always need to be here. But they're panicking a little hard. And now the thing is, the shaman gets the free fear, so you guys are able to get the trap off this. And you're able to sit here and do damage. Now, this is okay once you have your CC and everything going. You pop your true shot. This is actually a really well-timed true shot. I definitely think it's good if you're using double tap one go, true shot the next tap, or next trap, and then double tapping again. Like, that's an ideal. There's lots of times where I won't do that for numerous reasons. Maybe I just want to just free cast some damage, and I know the game's going to be in dampening, whatever. But an ideal is getting your setup like this. So this is definitely really good by you. You get that extra pressure on him once your priest gets the MC, and you're able to get the kill. But I think part of this is a lot of sloppiness on their end, and I think that it's going to hurt you. And kind of these things are what sort of happens in the second game that we watch here. And so where your Pally, more of the mistakes that I was saying, or things that are just like bad to do, are kind of elaborated here. So it's kind of the same thing. And we'll see, like, you come from south, you get the trap, which is good. I like you have the double tap up and you have your burst ready. The problem is the way you aimed your arrow. I will say it kind of fucked you guys. Because if you look, you get your trap, but your arrow ends up breaking. That you want to be patient. If you aimed it a little bit more to the left, your healer probably has time to get a fear out of this, and then you have the extra damage in your go. But now he doesn't really have that. He gets the fear a little bit later, but he had like that gap of getting globals off, and you would have gotten a little bit more pressure. It's okay because you guys do get the save by the light, but I would say another bigger thing is you're going for your damage here, but I think it's a little bit more important to try to peel for your priest in the opener, because they already went for a hodge on him, and you didn't have like a scatter available. And the next stun that happens on him, again, like I think you have scatter shot up, but you don't use it. Like you instead are using like scatters like off of traps. Like here you just go for a scatter on the pally like super short, and that's completely wasted because this puts your next trap. This delays your next trap even longer because look, the DR is for 18 seconds, and if you look at your trap cooldown, it's up to 10. So this is already bad for that. And now you don't have scatter to peel the warrior off your healer, especially because he's human rally. So that's definitely something that's gonna be a little bit painful for you guys in the game, and it's gonna make your priest fall really behind. So they just have all this uptime on him. You know, you're not really doing the best job of like peeling for him as much as you can. You are peeling with damage, which is kind of okay, but you guys still need deep dampening if you want to beat a warrior. You're not gonna win really early. See, like here, you don't have scatter shot, and they have a full hodge on him, and now you have this trap here, and you're in melee range. But this is just like super scary. You just get disarmed. His disarm is like pretty bad for you guys, and you get the fear and the CC. Like that's cool and all, but like you definitely want to make sure that you get things going at the right time, and you're healing for your healer, because this eventually just starts to make your priest fall really really behind. And we're gonna just keep seeing this, and it's mostly the scatter shot usage that I think is the bad thing here. Like, look, you had trap TR coming back up in 1 second, and then you use the scatter on the paladin, and this is just completely wasted. Just look at your DR. It's right here. You have trap in 2 seconds, but you scatter shot him. So now you just like fucked all your chances of having CC, and now you're like not able to like you use your double tap and your burst combo, but you just have nothing here, and then your priest is just getting lower and lower. They have pressure on him. And then also I would say like this bop, I think you don't do anything about it. Like I think you see bop and you immediately switch off, but you have Trank Shot. So your Trank Shot, you could have dispelled the bop. He didn't really have anything to cover. It would have been just worth just to purge it off instead of just like going to the pally because he has no charge buffs. And then while you're rapid firing, you just run into melee range of him and give him a free trap. Oh, you didn't tab target? Okay, okay. Yeah, I would try to make your macro like better or whatever it is, like set it up efficiently, because you just want to make sure like you have those. You know, it's just really important that you don't mess it up, because it's going to make your priest fall further and further behind. Like you guys are only at 10% dampening, and your priest is at half mana, and that's just not a good sign. You're doing a good job of getting your damage out. Like I will say that your damage is fine for the most part. Your badges aren't really synced up with your rapid fire though, and that's a little bit awkward. I would say. I would try to definitely do a better job here. Like you use your badge here, and that's not helping you out. This scatter on the warrior is really good though, because this one actually helps you get a free trap. Like that's like fine to do. I'd say the best thing is like you can scatter the warrior on a hodge and then get a free trap on their healer when they can't do anything about it, and then that gives your healer either a free fear or just time to run away and gives you time to set up. So that's like really important. The scatter focus mega, and I think it would hit off target, but yeah, I get what you mean. It's just like a smaller mistake then. I mean, as long as the scatter on the warrior is the intention, like that's definitely the thing you want to correct. Um, and you have your pressure here. Like I said, like see, this is the problem with not having your scatter shot lined up. They have this full hodge. There's no scatter, and like your priest just dies right here. So I think the biggest thing is try to be really really careful and hold your scatters every time that your healer gets stunned, and just use it for that opportunity. Scatter them, and then you can get your trap, and you can start doing some damage onto the warrior, and then let your healer, fear out of that and just get your go. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, this is just puts him really far behind. Like when a warrior's just on him the entire time, they're not going to be able to do much. And the thing is, the game is just so short for you guys, and you need these games to last a really really long time. They just have so many cooldowns. Warrior H pal is something that you have to be in dampening. Um, Probably one of your hardest matchups is fighting a warrior. So I would just say try to just be as careful as you possibly can. Do what you can to save your healer. You don't have to necessarily have winning immediately as your win condition. You have to kind of think like doing things to save your healer's mana or save your healer's life and just trying to kite them as much as possible because the plays you make or the CCs you get, they don't start mattering on the Warrior H pal until like way deeper in dampening. So I definitely recommend trying to correct that in these matchups. Like just be mindful of like your defensive scatter shot usage. Um, in some of the games, like you just want to make sure you're far away from the warrior before you pop because you don't want to make it easy for him to get to you and stop to you. Like if you can make it where the warrior wants to peel your cooldowns and he has to leap to you and get off of your healer to get away, that gives him so much breathing room, and that'll make the difference in these games, like for sure. Like, these are like really good things you can start like applying and doing that, and it'll help you out. Totally recommend just doing that, practicing more. Think about think about kind of the long game. Like it's really easy to get caught up in the moment, I think, but I think a lot of Hunter and twos is you have to be planning ahead for the future. Like I want to win in this go. I we need to live for this. Not playing a dampening or not peeling. Like doing damage. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's times where you're doing damage and that peels, and that's good, for sure. I mean, in these things, they just come with experience. You want to play the dampening, and you want to use your peeling. You want to just like kind of get a feel of like when you're just not going to win the game from what you're doing. Like you can have a certain confidence at some points where you're like, you know what? If I do my damage here, they are going to die. I don't have to worry about peeling. I can let them just tunnel my healer and ignore them, whatever. But if you're at that point where like it's just not going to happen, like you'll have a feel for it. Like, is this really going to kill them if they don't pop anything? And if the answer is no, then you just don't want to go for the pop. Since you have no stun, yeah, mostly you want to harass their healer for the ghost. I mean, it is a lot harder with the priest on your team for sure. I mean, you're not doing the worst job of getting your traps, but I mean, you just have to sit near the healer and kind of just be annoying to him. If they're being really aggressive towards your priest, he's usually able to get like free fears. Like here, he can almost fear off cooldown while the pally's like on his face because the pally's trying to do damage to him too. You can see the pally's at half mana here just because he's spamming Crusader Strike that much. And yeah, even though it's telegraphed, like that's why you need the dampening because even if it's telegraphed, you need to just be able to kill him. Like that's the biggest thing. That's why it's so important. Because everything you do, it is telegraphed. You just need to make sure that eventually you just can't do anything to stop you. Okay, we have another clip that is put here. Let me see how long this one is, because I haven't been able to watch it completely. Let's see. All right. You have more VODs in the future? We can. Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this for sure. This is gonna be saved. Um, yeah, I think I'll have to cut this at like a certain point. I'm not sure how I do that properly. If I might have to go in streamable. If anyone has like a good idea of how I can just like cut this, because I want to save this portion of like a VOD, and I'm gonna do more. If I could probably do one more review, or I could call it for now. It's up to the rest of the chat if people want more, or if I should just try to break it up for another day. because I haven't had time to watch it. That's the biggest thing. I would have to watch it because usually I think I have to like pre-plan things um, for it to be optimal. Like not being able to watch the game ahead of time, it makes it a little bit awkward because there's a lot more things to think of and notice in the game. So it's good to like watch it once, and I definitely recommend doing that too. If you're like recording your own gameplay and trying to like learn from it, like I would watch it once, watch like you play, watch back at it once, and then look at it again another day, and you might just like notice certain things differently. Like it's